Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today I want to talk about two new companion bills, one in the House and one in the Senate, that would, if passed, force you to go through a background check in order to buy ammunition. And this is on a national level, so let's talk about it. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link to these bills down below, so if you guys get a little bit of extra time and you want to read the text, I definitely suggest you do it. It's very eye-opening, very unconstitutional, but still very eye-opening. Now, if these bills are passed, either one of them, it's going to be known as Jamie's Law, and like I said before, they are companion bills, so they're pretty much the same bill, written slightly different, and introduced in each of the different chambers. So the Senate bill is going to be S1237, and the House bill is going to be HR 2715. I want to make sure I got that right there. But what these bills seek to do, if passed, is to force people on a national level to get a background check before purchasing ammunition. That would mean that ammunition could no longer be delivered directly to you. You couldn't even do a private transfer without some type of identifying a process happening. There could be some type of state-issued license, and they want you to go through the NICS background check system, which is the same system that we currently use if you're going to fill out a 4473 and buy a firearm. So they want that same system that's already completely overloaded to now take on millions of transactions related to ammunition. Now, besides the fact that these bills are both completely ridiculous and wouldn't do anything to stop crime whatsoever, the only thing that it would do is raise prices on good people and burden the good law-abiding citizens of this country, because again, you're looking at a very small amount of people who do things the legal way if they're going to commit a crime anyway. Most of this stuff is stolen to begin with. But nonetheless, this is something that they have come up with because of the blueprints that were created by Connecticut, New Jersey, California, and other places who have enacted similar things like this. Now, California, there's so many problems with their system, I can't even tell you. There's so many false positives, so many people that are being denied their Second Amendment rights because the system doesn't work properly. It really does kind of foreshadow what would happen to the rest of the country if a bill like this was enacted. So it would require licensing, it would require extra money, it would require you to go to an FFL, it would require shipments be delivered to an FFL where the background check could then be conducted. It requires a lot more than just going in and doing a background check. There's a lot going on here. Plus, the system as it is couldn't handle that type of influx, because if one person buys, let's say, one firearm in a year, they might buy ammunition every single week. And so the amount of transactions that would take place through the NICS system, if it could even work, would just be astronomical. You'd end up with a backed up system. You'd end up with a system that crashed, or you'd end up having to wait a ridiculous amount of time for your 4473 transfer, just as much as you would wait for the ammunition to be transferred to you. Because if the system is backed up, let's say, for instance, I go in right now, right? And the NICS system is backed up. They just don't have the people to handle that many background checks in one given period of time. It may take 3 or 4 days for me to get that background check back, and I have to wait before taking possession of anything until that background check is done. So if that's happening for a firearm, the same thing would happen for ammunition. That means that you already own a firearm, now you're going to look for ammunition, and you have to go through the NICS system. If it's 4 or 5 days right now, expect it to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month if this thing was actually to pass, meaning that you would probably have to wait a month before you got that one box. The other problem is that it requires it for every single transaction, meaning you walk into the store, you want to buy a box of 22, you go through the process, you buy it, you leave the store, you're like, oh, I forgot I wanted to buy a box of 9, so you go back in, right? You have to go through the same process all over again just to get that box of 9. And again, this is on a national level, so it would kind of supersede the current laws that are in other states right now that work off of a different state system. Now, this bill is clearly based off of emotion. That's why it's called Jamie's Law. Something happened and somebody said, we need to do something. This is that something. This is not based off of fact or reason or even proper logic. The logic that they use here is that this will stop crime going forward because the bad guy will have less access to this stuff. And that's not the case at all, because if somebody wants to do something, they'll just steal it from somebody else. These aren't the people that follow laws. These are the people that follow the backdoor channels and do things in a legal manner anyway. And so if they can find a way to get it, and that means breaking into your house or breaking into an FFL, that's the way that they're going to do things. It's just going to force them into a different location or a different way of doing things rather than stop them completely. Again, these aren't the type of people that follow the law to begin with, so creating a new law isn't going to do anything at all. So again, it's not based off of logic, reason, and fact. It's based off of emotion, and it's another one of those, let's do somethings that's going to affect the entire public. And so while this is just in committee right now, it's, not something that's gone through any of the major processes. It's still something that we need to watch out for because it's been enacted in other states like California, which is, such a big state. Since it's been enacted in other states, we know that there's probably going to be broad support for it. So we have to try and stop it before it gets started. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, the bills will be linked down below. Have a great day.